I really love PC gaming. If you're familiar with my channel, you can clearly tell. But one of the things that I also really love about PC gaming is the fact that PC gaming is an incredibly accessible hobby. If you have a PC that have a processor, a graphics card, RAM, and storage, your PC is pretty much capable of playing all sorts of games. It cannot play all the games, but if you ask me, if it can run the original Unreal Tournament, that counts as a gaming PC. And a really fun one at that. The thing about PC gaming is that people always think of PC gaming as the highest of the highest of privilege in terms of the gaming landscape. If you own a PC and you use it for gaming, you are at the top of the gaming food chain. You are pretty much the ruler of the gaming landscape, with your high refresh rate monitors, FPS that go beyond 120, ray tracing technologies that make your games look super amazing, and all sorts of features that the consoles are still desperately trying to catch up. But what a lot of people don't know is that while PC gaming in most people's eyes can cover the highest tier of the gaming landscape, with the consoles covering most of the middle tier, they're also covering the lowest tier of the gaming landscape. I mean, yes, the consoles cover the lower tiers too, with their older consoles. The difference is, console manufacturers stop making their older consoles. Yes, you can get yourself an NES or PlayStation Classic, but they're not doing it for the GameCube or the Wii or the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 3 for that matter. Not to mention, a lot of their older games can be really expensive due to the fact that game collecting is such a messy market. PCs, on the other hand, you can find many people and even companies who are still making lower tier PCs. Not only that, but you can get a lot of their older games for really cheap. The reason is, people use PC not just for gaming. People use PC for office works, people use PC for their school works, people use PC for graphics editing or video editing. There are many use cases for a PC, and a lot of times, most people don't really need the latest RTX graphics cards or an 8+ core CPU. All they need is a PC with more than 2 cores, a basic graphical processor, and enough RAM to feed the notoriously hungry Chrome and its Chromium-based competitors. And for a lot of people, that's enough for their use cases. But what if I tell you that even those kinds of PCs can still play games really well? What if I tell you that you don't really need a super high-end PC to play games? What if I tell you that you can still have a lot of fun with these potatoes, and especially the ones that I have right here? Before we get started, I want to say huge thanks to my patrons and donators. You can support this channel through many means, links down below. Also, thank you so much for the 1,000 subscribers on my ABB stream channel. I stream every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, links down below. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Lenovo ThinkPad L410. This is actually my friend's laptop. He asked me if I have any used laptops lying around. I don't have any used laptops, but I do know where I can buy used laptops. His budget is about 3 million rupiah, which is about $210. There are definitely people selling laptops for that price, but they're gonna be either used laptops or Chromebooks. Anyway, I looked around online and I managed to find this laptop. I bought this one for about 1.75 million rupiah, which is around $120. That's right, this laptop cost $120. If you want to know the specs, it has an Intel Core 2 Duo T6570. That's a dual-core 2-thread CPU, which is barely enough to run modern web browsers in general and do office works at the same time. It has 4 gigs of DDR3 RAM, and it came with a 320GB hard drive. Here's the amazing thing about old PCs or laptops. You can upgrade its components. I don't need to use the hard drive, for example. This is a 500GB SanDisk Ultra 3D SSD. My friend wanted the PC to be fast and to be within that $210 budget. Since I got the PC for $120, I might as well spend some of that cash for SSD. So I bought this one for about $70. It's super neat how SSDs can get really cheap these days. I did my research on this laptop before I bought it, and I found out that the disassembly process is super simple. All you need is to unscrew a couple of screws here and there, and you get access to a lot of components really easy, including 2 most important components in my opinion, which are the hard drive and the RAMs, because they're the ones that should be upgradable in a laptop. I already replaced the old hard drive with the SanDisk SSD. I did buy another 4 gigs DDR3 SODIMM RAM, and this one didn't run on this PC, so I'm stuck with these 2 mismatched sticks. So does the PC run well? It actually does. On Windows 7. I did have the PC to run on Windows 10, it runs like garbage and I can't really stand it, so I reverted back to Windows 7. I feel like with a PC this old, I have to put it on Windows 7 so that it can actually function properly. Not to mention, the combination of a much lighter OS like Windows 7 and the SSD causes this PC to boot up pretty fast. It's insane how SSDs these days can bring a lot of life on this potato. Now let's get into the big question. Can this potato game? Oh yes. Yes, it can. The original Unreal Tournament is one of my favorite games that I played when I was a kid, and it's just so much fun. I'm sucking at this game though. It's been a while since I played it. If you're just playing that, this laptop can definitely run it for you. If you're an old school Counter-Strike player like me, this laptop can definitely run that. And yes, it can also run the original Half-Life. Counter-Strike is originally a Half-Life mod in case y'all missed it. If we're talking about emulators, this laptop can run PS1 emulators and anything before or weaker than that. So as long as you pick the right games, your weak laptops or PCs can still game and you can still have fun with it. I know that some of you are thinking, well, of course this laptop can play older games, but I don't want to play those. I want to play the latest games with super ultra HD 4K graphics. And I totally get it. 100%. This PC over here might not be able to run the kind of games that you want it to run. I tried running a PSP emulator on it with Tekken 6 and it just doesn't run that well. In that case, you have to spend some money to buy better PCs. I'm not saying that you can turn this potato to play all the PC games in the world and have a great experience. I am saying that this potato right here can still play games and it can still play them really well. You just need to give them the right games that it can run. At the end of the day, what I really want out of my video games is to have fun playing them. You might be one of those gamers who only care about the newest and most recent stuff, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, if you are one of those people who care about the newest and most recent stuff, you are most likely the kinds of people who can spend your money on them. If you can't spend a lot of money on this sort of stuff, like my friend who's only going to be using this laptop for office works, and like me in the past, you'll take anything that you can get. I've already told this story before, but let me tell this again. Back when I was in middle school, I only have an HP Mini 110 laptop. That laptop was a potato, even at the time. That was at the time where everyone around me and everyone on the internet have super expensive gaming rigs and their PS3s and Xbox 360s. I still have my PS2, and even then, it's a broken PS2 where the audio just breaks all of a sudden to the point where I play a lot of games in complete silence. I really love video games. I don't care what video games I play. I don't care if it is the best graphics. I just want to have fun. I realized that with the laptop that I had at the time, I can't play the latest games that people are playing, and that's fine by me. So I widened my horizons and decided to check up on older games that can run in older and weaker systems. I picked those games up, they run really well on that PC, and I have lots of fun with it. Heck, I don't even need to spend money on games, as I sailed the seven seas a lot of times back then. And I still do. So if you have money and you can spend them on modern consoles and modern games, that's great. But not a lot of us do. A lot of us, especially during this pandemic, only have a PC or a phone. And even then, not very good ones. It's only barely enough to do general office and school works. All I'm saying is, just because it's weak doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. You give these PCs the right games and they will play them like they're nothing. I had a PC that my uncle asked me to buy just to serve cashiers in a mini market. That PC has a Core i5-3470 with 4 gigs of RAM. That PC can still play a lot of games just fine. And unlike the laptop, this PC can run Tekken 6, on PPSSPP just fine. All I'm saying is, just because you have a PC that is only good enough for office works and web browsing doesn't mean that you can't game on it. You absolutely can game on it. You just need to pick the right games. And just because you're poor and can only afford a potato like this doesn't mean that you can't play video games on it. And it certainly doesn't mean that you can't have fun with it. So don't stress yourself out with work and take a moment to chill and have fun with these good old games. That's all for the video today. If you like it, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can donate to me through the links down below. And thanks for watching.